So, as you might have seen in yesterday's episode of My Big Fat Journey, um, basically, I had a rough week last week. Like, mentally and just overall physically, with the feet and whatnot. Feet felt a little bit better this morning. Still rough. But for the weight loss number, we actually had an almost, not quite, it was like 5.8 pounds. So it was a pretty good week. But this has been without me doing a lot of exercising at home on my own time. So I gotta figure out how I'm going to incorporate this show and exercise at the same time. That is a little bit too far. So that is something that I'm going to try and work on. Is that better? I think it's just a little too far. I think that's right. But it's something I'm going to be working on, is trying to figure out how I can do some floor exercises and do this at the same time, because I just don't have all the time in the world. So hopefully we'll figure out how to do that, squeezing it all into the schedule. Because if I can get some exercise at home going and I can get some sweat, then that number should, in theory, only increase. But regardless, this is the Fat and Happy Show, everybody. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Fat and Happy Show. Come on in, take off your pants and have yourself a bowl of cereal. Alright, so I was contemplating legitimately about 2 weeks ago, I think, as you guys knew, in the beginning of last week, whether I was going to continue doing these on the daily or if I was just going to kind of pass on it. And think I'm going to continue for the time being. If I skip episodes here and there, it's just going to be because of the slow news day. I don't want to have these in-between Fat and Happy shows where I kind of just cover some laid-back stories just to cover them. I want to cover stuff that's interesting, that's kind-hearted. I love those stories, but I don't want to have so much boring news stories to cover, because that's not what people, I think, are interested in. If you have a different opinion on that, let me know. But I may stray away from daily, and just most of the time is probably what we're looking at. But as for right now, we got to get into those holidays of today, baby. To start off the holidays for today, we got Watermelon Day, where you can have it seedless or you can have it seeded. It doesn't matter, just as long as you grab a bite, or maybe even just have the flavored stuff. Which me and one of my friends at work absolutely agree that watermelon flavored stuff is way better than real watermelon. Fight me. It's also Clean Your Floors Day, where I'm absolutely going to take part in this, because my floors need cleaned, not in the sense of vacuuming, but just a bunch of random stuff just kind of laying on the floor. I need to get that fixed. And lastly, it's Grab Some Nuts Day. Like cashews or peanuts. Come on, get your head out of the gutter, people, okay? We're just trying to have a holiday about getting some protein in a different form other than meat. Then you guys go instantly like, oh, grab some nuts. Ooh, get some help. But now let's go ahead and get into that bad news of today. Which the bad news of today hasn't even happened yet. It actually happened on Saturday, but it hasn't happened. I don't know. Trump likes talking, and we'll see what happens of this talk. He says he wants to get rid of TikTok, of all things. TikTok, you know, that thing that apparently Chinese government is using to spy on Americans. I don't believe it that much. I mean, there's some evidence to it, but I don't know. What are they wanting to see? TikTok is just a bunch of memes. I see no harm in it, but whatever. But he said he was going to ban it as early as Saturday. We are now into Sunday, and if I go ahead, pull out my phone, go to the TikTok app, pretty sure it's still working. So, where you at, Trump? Huh? You all bark and no bite? Most of the time he is. I mean, let's just admit it. He tweets way too much. Way too much. So if it gets banned, I'm not going to be upset, but I think it's rude of him to say, Microsoft, you can't buy them. Because why not just go ahead and let an American company go ahead and buy it? I mean, if they want to buy it and they want to keep it alive for people, I see no harm in that. That's just going from taking a foreign company, making it here in the US based. Isn't that more jobs and stuff like that for Americans? Just saying. Regardless, SpaceX is in the good news of today because they just brought back down 2 astronauts from the International Space Station. Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley both successfully splash landed down in the Gulf of Mexico, where they are officially back on land and healthy and safe, and it's an absolutely huge achievement for SpaceX and the Dragon capsule, because this officially means that the space race is basically over for like independent companies to come in and try and swoop up there and come back down safely. And it proves that SpaceX knows what they're doing. And the only thing left is just to see what happens to the next one, which is supposed to be the deep space guy that keeps blowing up. I don't know if you've ever seen any of that. We'll cover that next time it blows up. It won't be long. But pretty much, we're on the right track with SpaceX to hopefully get us moving further in the space race. And speaking of a space race, apparently like a bunch of countries just launched things towards Mars because Mars is really close to Earth. So we'll see what happens there. There's like a whole huge space race. Who's going to be the first one to go step foot on Mars? Hopefully it happens in my lifetime. I kind of have doubts. But you want to know what I don't doubt? That dad joke of the day, where, remember, a dad joke is just a simple question. Why did the woman not like her Velcro? It was louder than her? Well, she kind of felt it was a ripoff. Ooh. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Is it stupid? Yes. Is it funny? Yeah. But now we go ahead and get into the pet photo of the day, where it's a white ducky, but I'm not sure this is the name. It seems like an odd name, but I'm going to go with it because that's what I have. It's named Black Dot. Now, personally, I did not see a black dot. I see a bunch of white. Unless we're referring to the black dot being its eye. I have no idea. Bailey, this is your series. You got to give me some explanation on this one. Also, it feels rugger, ruger, wood, wooder. Anyways, with that out of the way, we are now on to the 2 cents moment of the day. Now is the part of the show where Kyle gives his 2 cents. Do you hate your fellow coworkers? Do you get along with all of them? Or maybe do you just get along with some of them? Well, the one thing that I think we can all agree with is the more the merrier. The more the merrier is how we get stuff done. The more hands that you have on deck, the faster something can happen. Of course, it takes good leadership to be able to do. But not only that, it also requires team chemistry. So, next time that you are working alongside somebody, maybe try and work to their strengths, and try and get a simple task completed together. Now, this doesn't mean that you can just go off all willy-nilly working together and then not doing the job. You can absolutely work together, but you can't lose sight at the task at hand. But it also doesn't mean that you need to work alone. Working as a team, that's just how good business rolls. So even if there's an annoying coworker that you work with, maybe you just try and find something that they're good at, or find a different task for them instead of just ignoring them and brushing them off. Because remember, the more hands you have, the faster the job can get done. Unless you're working with a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing. Because that's just rough. That's just rough some days. But I gotta show you something. Now, we all know Bailey, the main sponsor of the pet photo of the day, where we're already in series 2. Well, she kind of did something a little surprising. The Fat and Happy Show has merch. Not joking. It actually has the actual bull on it, And on the back has personal details featuring Milo. Milo's on a shirt. But honestly, it came out so cool. I actually ended up ordering another 3 shirts for some close people to the show. But yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. What I want to figure out, though, is does anybody want any? Because I'm going to be working on setting up a website for her. And once that website is up, I would probably share it down below if you guys are interested in ordering some for yourself. And odds are most of you are local, so anybody interested would be local. So odds are it would just be messaging me and then me messaging her and getting orders in. But if you're interested, let me know. Because they're pretty cool. They're made by Fruit of the Loom. Come in different colors, yada, yada, yada. It's really, really cool. Really, really awesome. And I love wearing it. I love having the fat and happy out there. But really, really cool. Thank you again, Bailey, for doing that. That was awesome of you. But alas, that is going to do it for this episode of the Fat and Happy Show. So hopefully we'll be doing the daily. Hopefully we'll have some good news stories. Not too much political. Not too much of the Black Lives Matter. Not too much of really anything that's already out there, like COVID. But thank you guys seriously so much for the continued support on the show. And I will see you guys back here for another wonderful episode tomorrow. Good night.